Welcome back to the GSL Code A. Some of these players are going to be going to their final round.
Indeed they will. We have really interesting matches for you guys. Up next, we are going into... I think we start with one of the most exciting games that we have today in the second round. We start with Hero versus Bomber.
Yeah, we do. And I feel like we have the fog machine around here because my coffee steam is going up like this. It's like so intense that I feel it may even be visible on stream. You can see the real fog behind us.
I'm actually checking it out on camera right now, and I guess you can't see it.
Look at those colors behind us, though. I feel like we've got some rainbow fog going on
back there. It's
GSL
Ghost. I actually recently took a picture of it, and it looks like just this mass hovering in the middle.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that.
It doesn't even properly light a span. It's like really weird.
Yeah, I don't even know exactly how all those physics of the smoke really work. But we do have Hero, in fact, playing against Bomber in our first round here at the GSL Code. We've got a lot of other good players coming out later, like Linok and Younghwa.
We have really exciting games today. We have Marine King. He's up against Yoda. We also have a ZVZ with Sniper versus Hyun. The rematch of the GSL Code S season final. Last season, that is.
Yes.
So a very exciting afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of great packed and exciting games with good, solid players. The level of play that you would actually expect to see in Code S is here in Code A.
Exactly. And this is going to get crazy today. Especially the first match is going to be a thriller. Bomber against Hero is such a great game, and I can't wait to pass the series. But first, we're having a quick look at the match results.
Yep, here are the results from this afternoon, starting off with Crazy versus True. True able to edge out the 2-1 victory. Sue dominated Killer with a 2-0 victory. In our third set, we had Shine take out Fantasy. It's a back and forth action there. And last but not least, Rain taking out Keen 2-0. And in Game 2, we saw a crazy comeback. Check that one out if you have not yet. That was really cool.
Neoplanet S was the map. But now we are done with the second round of Code A. We are going into the third round. Here you have the advance rate so far.
Yeah, you can see exactly what is, who's going where, how it works out. And, you know, a pretty fair advance rate across the board. Zerg being slightly favored, but they, had a decent advance rate there.
I don't understand that statistic.
I totally BS through it. I looked at it and I was like, well, I think this is a little bit weird, but...
Yeah, we did not have 60 players in... Alright, so...
I think advance rate is not the right word for what was trying to be on screen.
Whatever it was, it looked interesting, and I'm sure that someone will at some point explain to us what exactly we saw, and maybe that happened. Yeah. But it looked really interesting.
It looked interesting.
It's also looking pretty exciting right now. Hero versus Bomber. Our first match, Younghwa versus Linok. Yoda versus Marine King, and Sniper versus Hyun.
Yep, we talked about it before earlier, who is playing today, but let's get into our first match, Hero versus Bomber. Let's take a look at the information that is going to be necessary for this match, what maps they're going to play on, and of course, where you can find them if we go to a game number 3. Well, before we do that, let's talk about the race distribution. This is a stat that makes a lot more sense. In the third round of Code A, we have 7 Terrans, 7 Protosses, and 10 Zergs.
And look at these names. Gumiho, Beyond, we have Flash, Marine King, Yoda, Bomber, Alive, all those Terran players. And the Protoss, amongst them Squirtle and Hero. We have Flying, we have Rain and Younghwa. But with the Zergs, we have Hyun and Sniper. It's just crazy, the level of play in Code A this season.
Yeah, the level of play is just getting up there. And, I feel like the real dividing line for who is in Code S and who is in Code A is just this whole year, well, this past year, I should say, of 2012 and into the very first season.
Look at that.
2013.
Hero already looks sad before the game has even started.
Yeah, he does.
Nah, quick joke. The thing is, Hero really has to fight with his nerves a lot. This was also true in his Pro League game. I was at the studio in Chindarim for Pro League, and Hero was pacing before his match, and he was so nervous. It was crazy. It actually helped him a little bit that the game was delayed. He could calm down a lot, but then he lost the game nonetheless. Now we are at the GSL though. This is a turf where he is very familiar with the surroundings, but it's a tough area for him. He's up against a very strong Terran opponent. We have Hero vs Bomber here at the GSL Code A.
To the top left in the red, our Protoss player, he is...
Liquid Hero.
Hero, a really strong Protoss, a strong pillar for his team. And he is up against the Terran player. Starting to the bottom right of the map, in blue, we have the Terran player for StarTale. It is
30 Bomber.
As I was saying before, we had some computer difficulties, but we've gotten through it now. The dividing line really between Code A and Code S was never really clearly drawn as it was in past years. Like in 2011, I think it was pretty clear who was in Code A and Code S, and there was a transition period of players like Hyun where it's like they had a rise, they finally got into Code S, and they made it. It was like he's a Code A player who's now a Code S player. But these days, it feels like there's just not really a clear line between the two divisions. You have players like Bomber and Hero who are currently in Code A right now, but it's kind of just a transition period for them to attempt to get back into Code S.
It's just in general, you can see that the skill level in Code A and Code S just increased like crazy. In this game, this is definitely one of the things that we are going to see. This is a game on the highest level, and we currently have Bomber versus Hero, a match that occurred several times in the past here at the GSL. The last time in 2013, in January actually, when those two met each other in the up and downs. Bomber was able to take the game, it was back then on Belcher Vestige, and he in general must feel really good against his opponent. He faced Hero several times, and two of these times was, as I mentioned, once in January and once a year ago roughly, in actually 2 years ago in 2011, where he also won the series with a 2-1. So every time they faced off against each other, Bomber came out the victor. Can he do it again today, or will Hero break this small curse?
Yeah, that's what we're going to find out. Right now, Bomber is making a tech lab on his barracks. This is a bit weird. We don't see openings like this very often anymore. And it's likely going to just be a Marauder expand. On this map, I think this is good, but he makes a Reaper.
Goes into Reaper, so with the Reaper expand, he can now try to get the information that he needs. Hero so far only with one Zealot at the ramp, but he's going to get his Stalker. No scouting information at this point for Bomber, who drops the expansion in his main base, as you would expect.
The probe will see the tech lab, and then therefore will be able to prepare for a potential Reaper.
Yeah.
And this is going to make Hero feel pretty confident going into his expansion about what's going on. He also made the Zealot, so in case it is a Marauder, he's going to be totally fine against that.
Yeah. Reasons for Bomber to be really confident in this game is not only that against Hero so far he only won his best of threes. At the same time, this is also his best matchup. With a 72% win ratio, Bomber has an amazing Terran versus Protoss. 95 wins, only 37 losses. This is really, really impressive. He just comes off a loss against Genius, but this was a match that was played in Heart of the Swarm. So it's not Wings of Liberty, he doesn't go into the statistics at this point. And if you then go down and have a look at his Wings of Liberty performance against Protoss, you see a lot of victims. Taking out Oz, taking out players like Killer, SOS, Genius, Hero in the up and downs in the up and downs for first season of Code A in 2013, where he also defeated SOS as mentioned before. He was successful against Creator in the IGN Pro League Season 5, also against San. He just seems so strong against Protoss these days that Hero has to come up with a master plan to beat this guy.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy match at all. The Hero is taking the watchtowers. He's just doing a great job of scouting. He gets up, he sees the tech lab first of all, then he sees the Reaper with his probe. So he's getting all sorts of information about what Bomber is doing constantly. He also has his Nexus on the low ground much faster than Bomber will be able to expand. The worrisome part for Hero is how often does he face a build like this and how will he respond? He's getting a robotics, he's preparing to tech against this.
For Hero it's also a little bit off. Oh, he actually tries to poke a little bit. He needs to be really careful.
Yeah.
Concussive Shell is not done just yet, which is of course a big plus for him. But with all those units here, Bomber will get the better trade. He moves in and Hero has to be careful. He's going to lose another Stalker.
Yeah, not good there at all. Losing a Zealot and a Stalker for a Reaper.
I was a little bit surprised that he committed once he saw what was on the high ground.
And that's what I was saying earlier about just playing against a build like this. You're not really quite accustomed to what's up there, so you wanted to see, and then sticking around was not the right choice.
You know, this is really for Hero, it's one of those things where he's already in a spot where he doesn't feel that confident, especially since he now comes off 2 losses against Terran players. He lost to Puma with a 2-1 just recently. He also lost to Ryung. He was defeated by Noblesse and also by Marine King. If you just go down his match list against Terran, he's struggling a little bit. He still has a very strong win ratio with altogether 64%. But just the recent games, he's not looking that good against Terran. And Bomber with this impressive win rate against Protoss is such a tough opponent that I feel Hero needs a win early on in this series to gain this confidence that he needs.
Yeah, this is just a push that we have not seen in years, but it's Marauders being stimmed and running up a ramp. There's not enough force field energy here.
Oh my
And he just targets down the Stalkers, but now he can kite against the Zealots, take out the Sentries, and this is an insanely good trade for Bomber, who is not done yet. He will actually be able to kill these Zealots without a problem, and he can turn around and kill the Stalker if he wants to.
Crazy for him. This is really good. There come the reinforcements.
He can stim again.
Took out all the Sentries. Most of the Stalkers are gone. The Immortal is not just yet. Not yet. Here come the Marauders.
This is pretty one-sided. He should have run up the ramp, I feel, but even if he had, the probes would be in trouble.
The Immortal is still not there yet, coming out of the robotics just now. He will be able to turn things around here, but Hero already lost so much.
Yep, he's just going to run away now. Last shot not fired, and he could even go into the next push, the next wave here with his bio if he wants to. And it looks like he's just going to try to target down this Immortal and then go for probes. Hero just does not have enough production. He's lost way too much. Bomber's traded too efficiently, and he's going to get the Stalker and the Immortal.
Bomber is relentless here. He's like a fighter going in for the kill, punch after punch, and Hero's defense is weakened already. He takes severe hits here, trying to free himself, but Bomber is just not stopping. This is crazy. Nearly a 20 supply lead already for Bomber. He has his expansion up, work account is looking really good for him. And Hero, he's not only pressured, he lost a lot of his tech units, he lost his sentries, that's a lot of gas. He lost the Immortal, lost so many Stalkers. This is not starting well for the Team Liquid player.
It's definitely not. He's adding Bomber now, that is his starport. He's adding additional barracks. Hero is making pylons, he's nearly supply block there. He has started his Colossi, but economy-wise, he's not in good shape. He lost a lot of probes, he did not trade efficiently, and the sheer army power of Bomber is going to knock him down if he goes out across the map, which allows Bomber to now safely take this third command center, which we'll probably see him start very soon. He powered up a lot of barracks, but with those rocks now destroyed, and with the amount of pressure he put on and how well he traded, and with him getting his medevacs and Vikings out, it'll be easy for him to take that third.
Bomber is definitely flexing his muscles in this first game. Has now even a bunker on the high ground. He wants to prepare for all the eventualities. He knows that one of the options that Hero has is just going for crazy all-in, trying to throw everything he has against Bomber, putting everything on one card. But Hero doesn't do it. He goes into those Colossi that you mentioned, Wolf. He gets the extended thermal lance upgrade, and Bomber will be perfectly fine in this game. He has still a lead in overall supply. His economy is looking very strong. His upgrades are decent. Going into +1 attack right now, adding the combat shield. But he has, of course, to identify that there is a threat with those Colossi and make sure that he's prepared with a few Vikings.
Yeah, he will have to do that. But with the sheer army he has now, I feel Vikings are not even a big concern for him because he has so many Marauders on the ground with this low Colossus count. He could actually just smash it down. He will need them eventually, of course, as the game goes longer, but he's getting his third now, and he's got this aggressive force that Hero cannot attack into right now.
The point that you just raised with the Marauders stimming in is a really good one, especially since Hero lost all these sentries. So force fielding is going to be very tough for him. He's warping in additional ones, but he's still only at 4 sentries. So that's not going to be a lot of force fields that he can use to just shield those Colossi. And it's definitely an option that Bomber has. He goes into Vikings regardless, and we have him also with another command center now being built. Even the Ghost Academy is now in the production tab.
Yeah, and you guys just saw the army count on screen. It was in Korean, but it was about 72 to 50 in Bomber's favor. So this is going to be a pretty one-sided battle if Bomber gets the good angle here with these medevacs, which so far it looks like it's going to be relatively simple for him to do. He comes into the left side, and then the forces on the ground will actually get him surrounded. Hero has nowhere to run. The Colossi are totally exposed.
No force fields. He's trying to use the force fields on the low ground, but there's the second army on the high ground, taking down the Colossus, trying to kite a little bit against those Stalkers, just going out there, and Bomber is just in such a great position. Oh, but misses the Colossus.
He escapes, and you know what? This gives Hero a good trade, but the problem is now the Vikings will finish off the Colossus with one volley if they get that shot off.
They need to.
Well, even though he traded inefficiently here, he still has that third base. That's something that Hero does not have.
That looked really good for Bomber at first, but then suddenly Hero is able to save at least one Colossus.
Yeah, Hero's micro was actually better. Despite the fact that he
definitely better.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of force shields, but the ones he did use were good. This is not a good trade. That Marauder's in the fight for his life, and he will save it.
The problem for Hero is still that Bomber, as you pointed out, is on 3 bases. The harvest account is in favor of the Terran player. His economy is so much better. He already has +1/+1. Hero just started his own upgrades. But a bit of a problem for Bomber where he slipped up is his late armory. He could have started this a lot earlier, so he has to wait now for a long time until he can start +2/+2. This gives Hero some time to catch up.
Yeah, you know, Hero takes a position that he was terribly behind and now is ahead in army supply at 72-70 as shown on screen there. Bomber chased away, but his factory sees what it needs to see. He sees the Nexus timing here.
And let's not forget that Bomber also has Ghosts on the map.
Yes.
Ghosts before a Twilight Council is even completed. It's just now being produced so that he can access the +2/+2 upgrades with a double Forge play. And Bomber is taking the low ground with his third base. Of course, we just saw that Hero is also taking another Nexus, but his economy is still behind. A good saturation for Bomber helps him to stay ahead in this game.
Yeah, Bomber is still strongly superior in this game, and he has this large army moving across the map. I feel Hero needs to get off of this ramp if he wants to succeed in the fight, because if his Colossi and his Zealots can't fight and the Vikings get a good angle while he's sitting there, then he's not going to be able to defend his third base. He needs to be on one side or the other. Looks like he's going to try to go out and meet Bomber in the middle of the map.
Good scans against all those observers. Does a good job here, making sure that the Hero doesn't have the map vision anymore. Nice forward scan to determine the position of the Protoss player. Doesn't want to walk up the ramp without knowing what waits on the other side.
Yeah. Remember, this is not the beta version of this map on Heart of the Storm. He can't destroy the rocks and make a wall. He's going to actually have to defend regardless of any rocks. He's going to have to defend two fronts. Wherever Bomber attacks from, that's where he's going to need to be. And he can't split up his army like this. His Stalker's on the right side to catch Vikings, but if he gets his Stalkers caught, he just loses the game.
There's another issue here. Hero does not have the resources to build units and go into upgrades, and he decides that right now he needs more units. This is why we see the +2 attack upgrade this late on the production tab. He's looking at Bomber's position. He's like, well, he can attack me any seconds. I need more units in the map. I can't invest into upgrades right now. I might need them later, but this delays his upgrades quite a bit, and Bomber therefore is again ahead in the upgrades, at least in the research process.
Yeah. This is a good Zealot run by over here at Bomber's third. This is going to force him to stim some of his units down. His reinforcements are going to be slightly delayed. This is not going to force Bomber's army back, but it's still a good trade for Hero to get all these SCVs. Another scan eliminates the Observer. And Bomber still has a very dominant position on the map with a better army. Hero needs to be able to move out away from this position because engaging in this position is never going to be good. And Bomber goes into the right side with those Stalkers.
But Hero does his best to keep up here with his opponent. Here comes the Stim moving in, trying to put pressure onto the third base. A good position for the Vikings, trying to claim this Abyss so that they can get free shots against those Colossi. The third base is about to fall, and Hero is in trouble. He needs to go down here.
He blinks down with his Stalkers, but the Zealots were stuck up that ramp for so long. Bomber is tearing through those Vikings, and the Marauders on the low ground are just going to kill the Stalkers. The Vikings continue to chase, and this is exactly what I was talking about. You can never engage like this as a Protoss player. When you have to walk down a ramp, you'll never beat a Terran army that's to the concave on the other side.
Bomber with a good position for the Vikings, even though he lost most of them. He kept those Colossi at bay. One of them goes down. Good targeting by Bomber. He can't kill the second one, but he's able to eliminate the Nexus and therefore the third base for Hero. 3 bases against 2, trying to catch a few Stalkers here. And Bomber taking a 50 supply lead in the game.
Hero does force a stim with that, but Bomber has so many medevacs out that it's almost irrelevant. And he fights again here, losing a Stalker again. And he doesn't even force a stim this time. With the medevacs healing this much and the Stalker count getting worse and worse means already 50 supply down with no third base, this almost looks like it's already over. And to be honest, if anyone told me that, I would totally agree with them.
Well, we have good upgrades coming in for Bomber. Hero is about to complete his +2/+2, but it does not matter. Look at this.
The Vikings are just...
This is crazy.
Way too much. GG.
He moves in.
Hero took an early deficit because of that push from Bomber with the Marauders. Then he was able to take a good engagement, but he was never able to be map present enough to push Bomber away from his third. Bomber got the angle he needed. You could tell he's played on this map a lot. It was well practiced how he moved in, and Hero totally crushed there in game number 1.
This was a great game by Bomber. And this is always a problem for Hero. Losing the first game definitely is not going to help him. At this point in time, Bomber takes the lead with a 1-0. Hero now has to turn things around on Daybreak if he wants to advance to Code S. Keep in mind, guys, even though earlier on today we had the second round of Code A, this is the third round. This is where it counts. This is where we have players advance and go straight to Code S, dodging the up and downs, which is what every single one of the 8 players that we have in this session will try to do. Bomber is 1 map win away from advancing and participating in the next season of Code S.
Yeah, if you lose here, you have to practice a lot more for Wings of Liberty because there's a little bit of a wait time between now and the up and downs. The up and downs are on Wings of Liberty. Then once you're done with the up and downs, you get thrown right back into either Code A or Code S in a different game. We're talking about a different game. So you do not want to find yourself in the up and downs. The up and downs are terrible enough as it is. And Hero failed in the up and downs last season. If he fails again, now he has to play it in a completely different game. He's been practicing Wings of Liberty. He's even been tweeting about it. This is so important for him to take this next game. He does not want to play the up and downs.
He needs the mental strength to focus on the game of Daybreak now. Bomber, a great Terran versus Protoss specialist. He's shown it in the past, he's shown it in the last few weeks, he's shown it in the last game, and now he's up against Hero. Once again, this time on Daybreak, match number 2 between the two of them here in this best of 3 at the GSL Code A. We have Protoss versus Terran, we have Hero versus Bomber, and the winner goes to Code S.